Welcome back to Deano's Garage, and I'm going to talk you through a couple of things I'm doing at the moment. The wheels that you're looking at here are the YZF750R wheels that were black, and I'll just talk you through what I've done with these. Now, rather than use a lot of elbow grease and start scraping and sanding, what I've done is use this paint stripper. Now, there are other paint strippers available, obviously, via eBay, but I find this one is very good. If I can just get a good focus on there, you can see what it is. There we go. Starchem Sin Strip. It's in a plastic bottle. Now, I've been informed that if it's in a plastic bottle, it's actually better than if it's in metal, because very strong paint strippers shouldn't be in metal cans. Whether that's true or not, I'm not so sure, but this is a good paint strip. I have used it before, and that's a 1 litre bottle. It's almost empty, and it has stripped all of the paint completely off of the wheels. Obviously that's just the inside where the rubbers go on the sprocket, so that's the cush drive area, so I don't need to worry about that, but all of the paint has been stripped off of these. It took a couple of goes, so what I did is painted it over, let it do its work for about 15-20 minutes, then power washed off the wheels to really blast off the loose paint, then dried them off, because that stuff doesn't go on to wet things. It's a sort of water based gel, it won't go on to wet stuff. So dried off the wheels and then did a second coat, and then there was just a few little bits left. And what I also used was a little bit of elbow grease, which was this. You can buy these from Wilkinson's in England and obviously other places. Nice and easy to use, nice handle, so you can really get in, and because of that curve you can get into good angles and sort of underneath and around things, and I found this to be very good and a very handy tool. You can see it looks rusty now. That's because the paint stripper literally strips the steel wool of any oils or anything, and just it instantly starts to rust because the paint stripper reacts with the metal. So I guess if it's in a metal can, that's the kind of thing it would do. That shows how strong it is. So yeah, that's the YZF750R wheels now stripped of paint, and what I'll do is just pressure wash these off again so they're fairly clean. And then what I will do is use hot soap and water to clean off any extra residue off of both of these, and then I'll finish up with some kind of sanding pad type thing to just rid anything off of any little areas, and then I'll go over with some panel wipe to clean off any dust and anything prior to painting. I'm going to spray these myself, so I've got some white wheel spray paint and top coat lacquer to go over the top of that, so it should be a nice original white finish. Now, as you can see, I have sprayed the wheels white, so just going back through, I took the wheels which were black, removed the tyres off of those, the old tyres, removed the bearings and any sprockets or discs, etc, etc. So we're just down to literally the alloy wheel. And just to recap, I used a paint stripper several times to remove all of the paint from the whole surface, washed them down. It was a little bit tricky, but also used some wire wool to remove little bits of paint stripper and hardened paint. Yeah, and eventually got it down to clean alloy. Used an acid etch primer, then I used like a base primer after that, and then obviously having sort of rubbed down in between acid etch and then the primer, rubbed down the primer and then sprayed them what's called competition white. So yeah, here are the wheels now finished in white. Just give you a bit of light on there. Yeah, turned out really nice. So as long as that paint holds up as I hope it will, and it's nice and tough and resilient, yeah, really pleased with the result of the paint. So yeah, like that. Just show the other side here. Yeah, not the most ideal environment to be spraying in, obviously, because there's a lot of dust and stuff, but the biggest problem actually was as I was rotating the wheel, what was coming out from inside the wheel was the biggest problem. Even though I did blast these with a hose and clean everything out, there was obviously old cobwebs and bits of leaf or whatever in there where the bike sat for so long that as you rotate the wheel, then sort of fell out, and sometimes fell out onto the painted surface. So I let that dry. Never try and remove anything that drops onto your paint. Let it dry, and after about 15 minutes I could just gently with a rubber glove just flick it off, and then obviously spray over again with other coats, and not a problem. So yeah, all good. So that's the wheels painted, and just to show you how I've done them, basically use some threaded bar, come off the rafter there of the roof, and it's basically 2 bits of threaded bar, obviously 1 bit going through the centre of the hub there, and wire, nice thin wire, so when you're rotating through you can spray. The only problem I found with these was these bits were slightly too long and occasionally sort of failing against the back of the shelf, and ideally I should have come through up here and brought that down so it was just further off, but I just got on with it like I do and persevered. So these are the wheels now with the rubber on. So really chuffed with the way these wheels have come out. That's how YZF750R wheels should look. White, 1990s, and that's typical of a 1990s bike, quite frankly, and that's how it should look.